Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday evening program on behalf of the Indian section. Before beginning, let's all join together in the universal invocation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. So I welcome Sister Suvralina to finish this book that we are studying, Practical Occultism by P. Blavatsky. This is part 4. Welcome, Sister.
Yeah, thanks, Vimalji. And we would be doing it with a little bit of reflection also. So whenever I'll be talking about the reflection, we have to kind of reflect as in remaining silent and, absorbing those questions. I'll try to finish it by 45 to 50 minutes because reflection will definitely take some time. Why reflection? Because now that we have read this book and we have understood some concepts which we would be practicing in daily life, I thought, other than the stories, this time let us do some reflections also. Okay?
Very nice idea. Yeah, nice idea. Thank you.
Okay. So today, again, when we're doing the session 4, and which is the last session for this book, Practical Occultism, I have taken up certain paragraphs, certain statements of Madam Blavatsky. I would be doing the explanation as well as wherever I could bring in some stories, I would bring those. And we will do a reflection also. Almost for each passage I have noted down and highlighted, I'll be trying to do some reflections. The first one, which caught my attention, she says, live neither in the present nor the future, but in the eternal. Generally, we say, we should live in the present, not in the nor in the past, nor in the future. But she's taking up to an advanced level now, guiding us, saying that don't live in the present, if not in the future, but in the eternal. She also writes, the giant weed of evil cannot flower there. This blot of an existence is wiped out by the very atmosphere of eternal thought. When she's saying to live in eternal, meaning to rise above the time-bound thinking, the anxiety of the future, the regrets of the past, the fleeting emotions of the present. And instead, she's suggesting anchor yourself in the timeless truths of existence. Values. She's talking about truths like love, compassion, purpose. And when she's saying a giant weed, the evil's giant weed, which generally grows in places where there is mental noise. Mental noise could come from fear, anger, desire, ego. But when we are in the eternal, the mind is rooted in the state of pure awareness, soul consciousness. So, as a reflection, when we act from eternal thought, we can see that we don't react with anger, we respond with understanding. Many a times we react with that very present moment's emotion. But when we are in the eternal thought, beyond timeless, beyond that particular time, we respond to things, to people, to situations with a better understanding. So an example could be if somebody is insulting us or somebody we see that is holding a grudge and doing something not very happy or joyous, which comes as a pain or a suffering, we have to rise above it. I think when we were reading the book At the Feet of the Master, that book also was guiding us for such things. So these are basic things as theosophists we should be doing. Not responding with emotions, fleeting emotion rather, I would say, of that very moment, but by becoming centered. So when we are centered, we have a hold on the very understanding of the situation, we would respond good, positive. She also writes, purity of heart is a necessary condition for the attainment of knowledge of the spirit. So we all want the knowledge of the spirit, but if I don't have a pure heart, an open mind, it will be very difficult to attain that condition. So she also writes there are two principal means by which this purification may be attained. First, drive away persistently every bad thought. Second, persevere and even mind under all conditions. Never agitated or irritated at anything. Purity of heart means a mind free from selflessness, ego, jealousy, anger, desire. So only when the heart is pure, we can access the deeper knowledge of the spirit. Now, there are two methods she has suggested. Drive away every bad thought. An example could be like when we are weeding a garden. Every time we see a weed in the garden, we want to remove it. We want to take it out. So every time a negative or harmful thought is arising, it could be out of envying, being judgmental, being fearful. So we should consciously let it go. So it's a daily mental discipline she's suggesting us. The moment it is coming to you, let it go, let it go. The second thing she's talking about here is preserve an even mind under all conditions. So she's talking about equanimity here. We face a lot of situations, a lot of emotions from people. People praise us, people blame us. We sometimes gain things, sometimes we lose things, but we have to consciously uh, try to be steady. So whenever there is this steadiness, that calmness, that will protect everyone from emotional disturbance. So here I will quote a story. A young seeker went to a master and asked, why can't I understand who I really am? I meditate, I read scriptures, but I still feel lost. The master gave him a dusty mirror. Clean this. The boy began to wipe off the layers of dust. The master said, this dust is your impure thoughts, like your anger, desire, fear, pride. Unless you clean the mirror daily, you will never see your true reflection, which is your spirit. The seeker asked, what if the dust keeps returning? In physical life, we also see that the dust keeps returning on the mirror. The master smiled. Then you keep cleaning, but never let the dust settle. So this keep cleaning is this habit. This keep cleaning is the practice we have to do. Knowledge of the spirit is not granted to someone who's restless, who has an agitated mind. That is why keep cleaning is the message here. The dust will return. That's dust to decide. I'm not dust. I have to clean. So that's the difference. Dust will keep on coming and I have to keep on cleaning. Then she writes, the mind requires purification whenever a falsehood is told, whenever anger is felt, or the faults of another needlessly disclosed. Whenever anything is said or done for the purpose of flattery, or anyone is deceived by the insincerity of a speech or an act. Here she is illustrating the moral compass required for spiritual growth. So this is serving us as a guide for self-purification. So each part like anger, falsehood, disclosing others' fault, flattery, insincerity. We all are aware what it is, right? But just to look at these elements consciously, we would know that anger is like a fire that burns the one who carries it. We always are advised by our elderly people who are wise. They always say, if you are carrying that anger, you're only burning yourself. Similarly, falsehood is a veil on reality. When we lie, we drift away from our own essence. Disclosing others' faults without purpose. If there is a purpose, there is solving something, that's fine. If there is no purpose of disclosing others' fault, it is called gossip. Gossip is something which we need to avoid, which we need to eliminate from our life. If we see somebody's fault and which is probably not healthy for some people, for the society, for a bigger cause, for a universal cause, if we see that it's troubling people, we must disclose and try to solve it. But if we are not solving it, we are just keeping on going and talking about it, that's gossip. Similarly, flattery. Flattery is a disguise, a sweet disguise, a manipulation. It will never connect us to our sincere, real self. So never let us be swayed by flattery. So some reflection, when such kind of emotions arise, we have to acknowledge, and that too every moment. Similarly, there is this very basic thing we can do, which at the feet of master was also guiding us. While I'm speaking, before I just speak, I have to check. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If we don't see that out of these three, none of the elements are there while I'm speaking, there is no point speaking. Before every speech, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? That will automatically eliminate this insincere gossip, or flattery, or falsehood, or even anger. Coming to one more paragraph, she writes, he who's led by selfish considerations cannot enter a heaven where personal considerations do not exist. He who doesn't care for heaven but is contented where he is already in heaven, while the discontented will in vain clamor for it. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Excuse me. I think somebody is unmuted. Okay. Let me just switch off it. Okay, good. So when she's saying one who's contented, he is already in heaven. This heaven word is true peace, and it's not a destination. It's actually a state of mind and heart. We must do deep introspection when we talk about he who doesn't care for heaven but is contented. When someone is not chasing a future paradise, but is deeply content, grateful, and accepting here and now, that person is already experiencing heaven. People might have a lot of materialistic things around, might be leading a physically healthy and happy life, but somewhere, if they're not contented, they would always be restless. So it is not about having things around. Peace is not a thing which is without, it is within. If somebody is just chasing after things, Chasing will never give us contentment. Unless and until we are grateful for what we have and accepting what we have, we are not going to be contented. And somebody who is already contented, he or she is already in heaven. That's a good thing. So, some reflections. Let us ask ourselves, what am I chasing? What is that I'm chasing? What is that I'm seeking? And why? Each of us should ask. There is nothing about I'm chasing something bigger, higher, so that's why it's better than somebody who's chasing something lower. It's not like that. The very simple chasing also we have to question. What is that I'm chasing and why? Most likely, whenever we would be taking a pause at such questions, we can cultivate contentment then and there by noticing the simple joys, letting go of envy, being fully aware in the presence, being happy. Heaven is not a reward, it's a realization. It is revealed to such people who live fully, gratefully, and peacefully in the present moment. Coming to another paragraph, she writes, he who thinks himself holier than another, he who has any pride in his own exemption from vice or folly, he who believes himself wise or in any way superior to his fellow men, is incapable of discipleship. A man must become as a little child before he can enter the kingdom of heaven. Here she's talking about core of spiritual humility. This message is about ego, pride, and the true spirit of learning or discipleship. There is this spiritual pride also, the most subtle and dangerous kind of ego. The moment we feel superior, we stop growing. A person who believes that I have arrived at a place and he believes that I am wise, he becomes closed off from deeper truth. The moment we say, I know, okay, I know it, I know it, I know it all, I'll definitely stop growing. In fact, if we do the other way around, I should know what I don't know, or I should know that I do not know many things. That will give us that humility, that being humble, being being like a child, because every time I would be ready to learn. A child doesn't claim to know. A child always asks, learns, trusts. That is the attitude of a true disciple. That's why she's writing, a man must become as a little child. The moment we say that, yes, yes, I know it, our growth is stopped. Sometimes we would see that many of us would be probably mentally taking it that way or openly speaking, like they don't understand like I do, or I have meditated for so many years, I know this, or at least I'm not like them. No, it's actually a form of subtle ego. Instead of pride, we must cultivate curiosity. I must learn something, that humility and a compassion towards others. That is why let us ask ourselves, there is this term called learnability. Am I learnable? Or kind of, am I ready to learn? Am I open to learn things? We have to continuously keep asking ourselves. Then only we can understand whether that curiosity of a child is within us or not. Continuing with Madame Blavatsky's quotes, she writes, the sacrifice or surrender of the heart of man and its emotions is the first of the rules. It involves the attaining of an equilibrium which cannot be shaken by personal emotion. This is a very deeply stated spiritual and philosophical statement. It speaks of emotional mastery being the first step in the inner path. That's why she writes, first of the rules. The sacrifice or surrender of the heart of man and its emotions. It doesn't say that we should eliminate our emotion. It means offering the reactive parts of our emotional life, like possessiveness, anger, pride, grief. We should offer all this to a higher awareness. This is called conscious surrender. Again, we have been talking about suppression. Suppression is not transformation. That is something we have been talking about in this book and reading about it. So it is not about suppression, but it is about surrendering to a higher awareness. So one reflection question could be, am I reacting to the situation or am I responding to the situation? There is a difference between reaction and response. So whenever we are reacting to a situation, definitely we would be carrying all our emotions and, that fleeting emotion, that quick emotion. But when we are responding with an understanding. So probably each time we want to keep a check on ourselves before saying something, before writing something, before answering something or to something, we should quickly check, is it my reaction? Is it my response? Am I responding or reacting? She writes again, through faith, the heart is purified from passion and folly. From that comes mastery over the body, and last of all, subjugation of the senses. She's talking about faith here. Trust, faith. It's a step-by-step map for inner growth. When she says, faith, through faith, the heart is purified, it is the inner alignment with the truth, not just the kind of day-to-day religious beliefs. That's not faith, but the willingness to be aligned with something higher rather than our personal ego. When that inner faith is strong, automatically these destructive passions like lust, greed, and hatred, or foolishness like impulsiveness, irrational thoughts, they'll begin to lose the grip. So faith will be the master. And from there only, we can start the journey of self-discipline, which will naturally arise within us. And the final step is when the senses like our smell, taste, sight, hearing, touch, they will never overpower us. We will remain undisturbed inwardly. I'll tell a story here. In a village, there lived a man known for his silence and inner calm. Once a group of scholars came to test him. They placed rich food before him. He didn't move. They insulted him. He didn't react. They praised him. He didn't smile. One of them asked, are you a stone? The man finally spoke. I am free. Not from food, not from insult, not from praise, but from the need to respond to them. Later, he also shared with a group of people that I once lived in chaos, but I trusted there was a deeper peace within. That faith purified my heart, taught me restraint, gave me peace no praise or pain could disturb. So some reflection is, we must ask ourselves, what is that faith? What is faith to me? What do you understand by faith? Is it the truth of life, purpose of life, my higher self? What is that? We must check with ourselves. And a beautiful reflection question could be, whenever we are tempted or in anger and we are serving something, we are giving something, if we can ask, what am I serving? The senses or my soul? Definitely, when the soul is serving, there is no negative emotion. So we have to ask, am I serving the senses or my soul? Coming to the book, she writes, he who does not practice altruism, he who's not prepared to share his last morsel with a weaker or poorer person than him, he who neglects to help his brother man of whatever race, nation, or creed, wherever and whenever he meets suffering, and who turns a deaf ear to the cry of human misery, he who hears an innocent person slandered and doesn't undertake his defense as he would undertake his own, is no theosophist. Remember, in the first session itself, we had studied about who's a theosophist. Let me recall and reread that. Then we'll come to this opposite. Because here she's saying who is not a theosophist. But earlier in the first session itself, we read any person of average intellectual capacities and leaning toward the metaphysical of pure, unselfish life, who finds more joy in helping his neighbor than in receiving help himself, one who's ever ready to sacrifice his own pleasures for the sake of other people, and who loves truth, goodness, and wisdom for their own sake, not for the benefit they may confer, is a theosophist. So the very alternative statement when she says, who is no theosophist, we must keep a check on our own behavior, our practices, our responses to understand, are we behaving as a theosophist? This is the essence of true spirituality, not just in belief or knowledge or ritual, but in selfless action and a courage. So we have to ask ourselves. There are three things we could reflect on. Do I help when it is uncomfortable, not just convenient? Do I treat strangers with the same compassion as I do family? Do I speak up for those who cannot defend themselves? That means, am I helping the poor, the weak, people who are suffering, who do not have strength? Am I really helping them? Am I speaking for them? Am I treating my family members differently and strangers differently? Or am I being equal to everyone? These are the questions we should ask ourselves. Then coming to another thing she's talking about here, a man who's perfected in devotion finds spiritual knowledge spontaneously in himself in progress of time. Also, a man of doubtful mind enjoys neither this world nor the other, nor final beatitude. So these quotes complement each other beautifully, emphasizing devotion and clarity of mind as central elements to spiritual progress. So when she speaks about power of sustained devotion, she's talking about unlocking spiritual wisdom. She's also warning about the dangers of a wavering or an indecisive mind. Devotion as the path to spiritual enlightenment is not blind or fleeting. It's a constant practice. It is not about today somebody says that if you do this, you will get this result. Someone, some devas or some deities will, kind of be pleased on you, or by their grace you would achieve so and so. That is not true devotion. That is a bargain. It will never give you spiritual knowledge. It will only be giving you a temporary solution, temporary fulfillment of things. So that is why we have to understand whether it is true devotion or it is like bargain. She also says a man of doubtful mind enjoys neither this world nor the other. Doubt means a barrier to spiritual progress. We start something, then we are doubtful whether it will work or not. We say that we have faith in something, some energy, some deity, some avatar, whatever. Then all of a sudden something doesn't occur to us which is healthy, happy, good. We consider, no, this is bad or this is really not helping me. Then the moment we start that, we keep on saying, I had faith and so and so. See, it's now not working. So there is a doubt. It's not that faith she's talking about. It is nothing a short-term faith or something like that. A devotion is permanent, pure devotion, true devotion. She's also saying spiritual culture is attained through concentration. It must be contained daily and every moment to be of use. The cessation of active external thought, that is what meditation has been defined as. And concentration is the entire life tendency to a given end. Focused attention, concentration of mind. This will only give spiritual insights, wisdom, and inner peace. It becomes the key to mastering the mind. If we start concentration practice, automatically, gradually, we will reach a level where we can master the mind, which is the most essential for any form of spiritual development. So when concentration is cultivated, it will align the whole being, like the thoughts, emotions, actions, intentions to a particular goal. Then only there will be spiritual evolution, self-realization, or any higher purpose to which one can be devoted to. So we can do some reflection on questions like, we have to probably figure out where can I apply more concentration in my daily task, because a lot of tasks we are doing, and probably concentration naturally occurs to some tasks, and in some tasks which probably do not interest us much, or we are not fully understanding the importance of the task, we lose our concentration. So we have to first of all check what is that one particular task, or what are those tasks which I should be concentrating on and I'm not able to apply my concentration. The second reflection could be, when I meditate, am I truly able to quiet my mind, or do I struggle with distractions? So we will figure out in meditation and concentration what are my own problems. Unless and until we know the problems, we cannot eliminate them or solve them. So knowing the problems is the first thing we should do. Then we talk about some more passages. She writes, if men were only honest with themselves and kindly disposed towards others, a tremendous change would take place in their estimate of the value of life and of the things of this life. She emphasizes the transformative power of honesty with our own self. Honesty with self, kindness with others. These are the two things we must practice. Being honest with our own thoughts, our intentions, and actions. Sometimes we do things, but if we take a pause and hold on and look at it closely, we will understand why am I saying so, or I'm doing so, or behaving so. I have to be honest with my own self first. I cannot self deceive, just deceiving myself and putting a mask on it. It will not help me. That's one part. The other part is being genuinely good to others. There are people you would be observing. Sometimes we also do that way. We probably are not good to others, but we are showing that we are good to them. No. If we are not genuinely good to others, then that is also deceit. We are deceiving them. So being honest with our own self and being actually happy, good, and kind for others. These are the two things we must practice. Honesty with oneself, kindness to others. These two. So a reflection could be, do I really reflect on my actions and thoughts and understand my own self honestly? If I'm not doing, should I do it? Should I do it regularly, daily? If daily, then when? At what point of time? Before every action or end of the day? These are the things we should ponder upon. Because then only we will help ourselves to evolve. No one else would come and hold my hand to self-realize or self-transform. It's me. I have to work on my own self first. Then she's saying, develop thought, strive by concentrating the whole force of your soul to shut the door of your mind to all stray thoughts, allowing none to enter but those calculated to reveal to you the unreality of sense life and the peace of the inner world. Intense focus and dedication, the force of your soul. She's writing these words. That means fully being engaged with our own being, inner being. That is the first task at hand. Because mind could be filled with distractions, doubts, unnecessary thoughts, which are not very relevant. To truly focus, we must make a conscious effort to shut out these distractions. Closing the door, she's writing. Shut the door to anything that doesn't align with the purpose of your spiritual realization. If you don't need it, just don't take it. I mean, if somebody comes to your house and he or she knocks your door and says, okay, you had ordered this food or ordered this item and here it is being delivered. You say, no, sorry, it's not my address. See, the address is wrong. Or sorry, I didn't address it. I didn't order this. So what we do? We say, no, it was not my order. It was somebody else's. So I'll then close the door. I don't take it. So it's like that. Every thought that comes to you, check. Should I shut the door or should I take it in? She's also saying, complain not. What seem to be sufferings and obstacles are often in reality the mysterious efforts of nature to help you in your work if you can manage them properly. Look upon all circumstances with the gratitude of a pupil. The habit of complaining, it comes from a mindset that sees life as unfair, harsh. People who complain, that means they're not accepting life. She's also saying, what looks like misfortune or something very unnecessary, painful, suffering to you is actually a spiritual lesson or a trial to strengthen you, deepen your wisdom, redirect you to the truer path. This is what the nature, the universe, or the divine will is doing to us, shaping our journey with hidden intention which we are not aware of. She's also saying, look upon all circumstances with the gratitude of a pupil. Treat all of life situations as a learning moment. Being grateful for every lesson in life. If we live this way, we will live as a conscious learner. A pupil is someone, a student, is consciously and continuously learning. A farmer's horse ran away one day. His neighbors came to console him. Such a bad luck, they said. The farmer simply replied, maybe we will see. A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. Amazing fortune, his neighbors exclaimed. The farmer again said, maybe we will see. His son tried to ride one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The neighbor said, how terrible. The farmer said, maybe we will see. Then war broke out in the land, and all young men were drafted, except his son, who was spared because of his injury. The farmer smiled and gently said, you see, what seems like trouble may hold a blessing if we are patient and watch closely. Reflection is, do I view my difficulties as obstacles or as opportunities to grow? So we may do that exercise. If there are currently some difficulties in our life, can we hold back and look at those and think, are these opportunities for me to grow on some aspect of my life? Is it a life test I'm facing? Every obstacle is a disguised teacher. Every hardship is a hidden blessing. Again, coming to the passage, this will be the last statements we will be taking in. A soul confined to self-interest is like a bird in a cage. It may have wings, but it will never fly. Only through altruism can it break free and touch the sky of higher life. If we believe that the object of life is simply to render our material self satisfied and to keep it in comfort, and that material comfort confers the highest state of possible happiness, we mistake the low for the high and an illusion for the truth. She's talking about confusing comfort with true happiness. So at times we think that, okay, everything is comfortable, but that's not true happiness. If we believe that the object of life is simply to render our material self satisfied, many people unconsciously live by this belief, seeking wealth, status, comfort, pleasure. They think that this is ultimate goal. But these are goals of the outer self, not the inner being or soul. The material comfort confers the highest state of possible happiness. This is the great illusion of the modern world. The more possessions, luxury, and control over the external environment, it will lead to peace and joy. But true happiness is not born from that what we have, but what we are inside. We mistake this low for the high. and illusion for the truth. A wealthy businessman visited a monk living in a small serene mountain hut. The businessman said, I have everything, cars, houses, power, yet I'm restless. What do you have that I don't? The monk smiled and said, I have nothing, and that is what gives me everything. The man looked confused. The monk explained, you spend your life protecting and pleasing what is temporary. I spend mine discovering what is eternal. Peace is not found in what you own, but in what you can let go of. Some reflections. What is the deeper purpose of my life beyond material gain or ease? Am I willing to let go of lower attachments to pursue higher truths? True happiness is not found in the comfort of the body, but in the awakening of the soul. When we seek the eternal in the temporary, we trade truth for illusion. So it's up to us. Illusion or truth. We have to decide. Thank you so much. We end the book here.
Thank you, sister. I think we had a really fantastic treat from the last 4 weeks. And like today, so well that the most of the work we have to do is within ourselves. Recently, I was chatting with Sushma ji, and a lot of the senior or older theosophers will feel very automatically that our job is to propagate theosophy. But when we read these kinds of things, I mean, we hear a lecture like this, we realize there's so much we have to first work within ourselves. There's so much work needed for self improvement. So before we can spread the word, I mean, we will be doing that also, but then also this inner work is continuous. And I think you raised a lot of good questions, a lot of things that I found very interesting. We'll open up for anybody who wishes to discuss anything, otherwise I'll continue.
हेलो सुवरीना जी, सुब्रलीना
Yes,
जी,
sir.
Yeah.
मैडम ये रिएक्शन और रिस्पांस का थोड़ा सा एग्जांपल देंगे क्या?
पक्का देखिए, जो कुछ भी आपके साथ होता है, आप उसी टाइम उसी वक्त जो बोलते हैं ना, इमीडिएटली जो करते हैं वो होता है रिएक्शन. जब आप थोड़ा रोक के विद अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो चीज करेंगे वो होगा रिस्पॉन्स. ये वेरी बेसिक में बता रही हूँ. रिस्पॉन्स क्या होता है ना, यू अंडरस्टैंड, यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द अदर पर्सन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, देन यू रिस्पॉन्ड टू हीज और हर लेवल ऑफ थिंग्स. देन मुझे ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग है तो मुझे इमीडिएटली उसको रिएक्ट करके बोल देना है. जो बंदा आपको कुछ क्वेश्चन कर रहा है या फिर कोई बंदा आपको कुछ ऐसा बोलता है जो आपको ओके नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि वो अपने लेवल पे बोल रहा है, आपको उसके लेवल को समझ के जब आप उसको आंसर करेंगे, आपका वो होगा रिस्पॉन्स. आपको अपने आप देखोगे, आपकी बॉडी भी झुकेगी उसके तरफ, आप उसको सुनने की उसमें रहेंगे, उसको समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. अदरवाइज आप खुद ही देखेंगे, जब आप सुनना नहीं चाहते हैं, आपने फटाक से कोई जवाब दे दिया, आपकी बॉडी भी टाइट हो जाएगी. आप देखेंगे, आप उसकी तरफ झुकेंगे नहीं, आप उसके आंखों में भी नहीं देखेंगे. दीज आर वेरी बेसिक थिंग्स एज ह्यूमन बींग्स वी शुड ऑब्जर्व. हमें चिढ़ मच गई, उसने कुछ बोला, ये सही नहीं है, हम तो उस बंदे को सामने से भी नहीं देख सकते, आंखों में आंखें डाल के भी जवाब नहीं दे पाएंगे. रिएक्शन के टाइम आपका जो बोलते हैं ना मति भ्रम हो जाएगा. रिस्पॉन्ड के टाइम you would try to listen to what the person is saying and why is he saying. वो compassion and love जो होगा ना, उसके साथ जो होगा वो रिस्पॉन्ड होगा. रिएक्शन होगा हमेशा आपकी बॉडी ने एकदम से क्या स्पार्क दिया, आपकी बॉडी ने क्या जवाब दिया, क्या बोला, क्या सोचा. तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो बात हो रही थी ना कि आर यू डूइंग इट विथ योर सेंसेस और विथ योर सोल, Doing with your senses is mostly reaction because you're reacting. But when you're responding, even आप देखेंगे जो बड़े बड़े दुर्घटनाएं होती हैं, बड़े बड़े घटनाएं होती हैं, हम देखते हैं, पेपर में भी पढ़ते हैं. सो मेनी थिंग्स हैपनिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड. हम रिएक्ट करेंगे ना, हमेशा एक नेगेटिव एनर्जी इमीडिएटली क्लास करेगी वहां जाके. द मोमेंट यू आर काम क्वाइट एंड थोड़ा रुक के डिसीजन लेंगे, रुक के कुछ बोलेंगे, वो रिस्पॉन्स होगा. आप रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे उस सिचुएशन को, चाहे सिचुएशन को हो, चाहे किसी बंदे को हो. आपके खुद के इमोशन को भी वेंट आउट करना, वो रिएक्टिवली वेंट आउट कर रहे हो, आप रिस्पॉन्स दे रहे हो. So the basic meaning is that only. That is
जी
what
मैम,
I understand.
बहुत अच्छा समझाया आपने, अच्छे क्लियर हो गया बिल्कुल. थैंक यू मैम.
How can we treat
Thank you.
strangers? Am I on?
Mention.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
How can we treat strangers and family alike? We can be good with them, compassionate also, but they will also not act as our family members and behave with.
See, I understand what you're saying. I personally know many people who do not consider anyone as a stranger. Personally, like my own grandfather, I have experienced him in my childhood. Nobody is a stranger for him. Even if he's angry, I mean angry as in even if he's not happily responding to somebody, the amount of compassion he would carry in his heart, the amount of clarity he would have in his mind would make the stranger feel like, okay, no, he's somebody of my own. This is all with practice we do it. Like most of the time, we consider that my family, so this treatment I would be doing for my family because it's something of me, a part of me. My family is a part of me. So that spark of सेल्फिशनेस भी कह सकते हैं, या फिर एक हाँ सेल्फिशनेस ही तो है. देखो होता ना कि मेरी फैमिली है, मुझे इसको पहले प्रोटेक्ट कर लेना है, दूसरे बच्चे को मैं बाद में देखूं. दिस आर ऑल बिट ऑफ सेल्फिशनेस हम अपने फैमिली के लिए रखते हैं, दूसरे के लिए करने के लिए थोड़ा हम झिझकते हैं.
Maybe it is priority.
एक्सक्यूज मी.
Maybe it is priority.
हाँ, प्रायोरिटी तो है, आई अंडरस्टैंड. बट समटाइम्स हम सिचुएशनल बिहेवियर में प्रायोरिटी से भी बियॉन्ड जाते हैं कि ठीक है यार वो स्ट्रेंजर है, चलता है उसका, तो पहले इसका कर लो. ये एक इट्स एन एटीट्यूड विच विल नॉट ऑकर ऑल टुगेदर एट वंस टाइप. आप जैसे छोटी छोटी चीजों में इसकी प्रैक्टिस लाएंगे, मैंने देखा है, मैं इस चीज को मानती हूँ, बहुत स्ट्रांगली बिलीव करती हूँ कि देयर आर पीपल हु हैव रियली treated strangers as their family members, and for them everybody is equal. It takes some amount of courage, क्योंकि आपको सामाजिक तौर पे भी लोग बोलेंगे कि परिवार का तो पहले सोचा नहीं, बाहर वाले बंदों के लिए अपना कर्म पे लग गए, या फिर बाहर वालों के लिए करे जा रहे हैं, घर वालों के लिए सोच नहीं रहे. वो बात आपको सामने से लोग बोलेंगे. पीपल विल पिंच यू, पीपल विल ऑल्सो से कि फैमिली से ज्यादा तो आप बाहर वालों को इंपॉर्टेंस देते हो. इस तरह के रिएक्शंस आएंगे बिकॉज एवरीबडी विल नॉट बी एट दैट इक्वल लेवल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू आर डूइंग. इसमें कुछ डिफिकल्टीज होंगी, बट इंटरनली एटीट्यूडनली अगर आपको एक हाई लेवल पे, अगर आप ब्रॉडर लेवल पे देखेंगे, आप जब सबके लिए एक जैसे ट्रीट करने लगते हैं, एक जैसे बिहेवियर रखते हैं, आपका एनवी फैक्टर कम होगा, जेलसी फैक्टर कम होगा, एक अननेसेसरी कंपटीशन से आप बाहर निकलेंगे, और आपको इनर पीस तो जरूर मिलेगा. बाद में आगे जाके आपको गिल्ट जो खा जाता वो कम हो जाएगा. बहुत लोगों के साथ ऐसा हुआ होगा कि उनको बाद में गिल्ट फील होता है, अरे मैंने उस टाइम उनकी मदद नहीं करी, क्योंकि वो ड्यूटी बोल सकते, मेरी ना ड्यूटी थी तभी मैं नहीं कर पाया, वो बोलेंगे, किसी तरह से उसको टर्म देंगे. लोग तो एक्सक्यूज भी देते हैं. मैं उसको पता नहीं क्यों, मैं अपने नजर से उसको थोड़ा मानती हूँ कि कहीं ना कहीं वो सेल्फिशनेस में हम रह जाते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं 1%, 10%, 50%, 90% द परसेंटेज डिफर, बट कहीं ना कहीं हम स्ट्रेंजर को नहीं कर पाते हैं, अपने फैमिली की तरह ट्रीट नहीं कर पाते हैं. बट देन देर आर पीपल हु हैव प्रूव्ड इट मेनी अ टाइम्स कि वो स्ट्रेंजर को उसी ट्रीटमेंट के साथ देखते हैं, उस तरह के लेवल पे सोच पाते हैं, उनके बारे में, उनके दर्द को भी समझते हैं। जब आपका घर का कोई बच्चा बीमार है, जब आपको उस टाइम जो उलझन और प्रेशर और सफरिंग फील होती है, आपने बाहर किसी को देखा वो भी तड़प रहा है, आपको वो फीलिंग कैसे नहीं आ सकती? मैं उस तरह की बातें यहाँ रखना चाहती हूँ। आई मीन इट इज अ डिबेटेबल टॉपिक में बी। some people say no, family's duty, family's first responsibility, that's fine. At the same time पूरे आंखें बंद कर जाना, कई कई जगह में तो ऐसे है कि आपको पता है कि आपकी फैमिली की सारी चीजें आपकी सेटल्ड हैं, तब भी वो लोभ है क्या है, फिर भी आप बाहर निकल के दूसरों के लिए नहीं कर पाते हैं। ये करते हैं कुछ लोग, दे आर ऑलमोस्ट सेटल्ड, उनको पता है कि उनको फैमिली की उनको नीड भी नहीं है, उनकी फैमिली उनके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट भी नहीं है, फिर भी वो फैमिली पे लगे पड़े हैं। देन जो जो टुक ड्यूटी उनके दूसरों के लिए भी होना चाहिए वो नहीं करते हैं। वहां पे फिर पर्पस ऑफ लाइफ आ जाता है। सो इट्स अ vast topic, we can have a session on this also. There are many aspects to it.
Actually, when we become a member, before that we have possessed so much of this property, not full, but काफी हमें यहाँ वो है कंपेशन, इसीलिए हमें ये मार्क मिलता है, ये भी बात सही है। लेकिन एक जनरलाइज क्वेश्चन मैंने पूछा कि क्यों ऐसा नहीं होता है क्या जनरल में, वही मैंने
क्या
पूछा।
नहीं होता?
एक जनरल क्वेश्चन पूछा था मैंने
हाँ,
कि ऐसा ऐसा नहीं होता है क्या कि हम फैमिली को ज्यादा प्रायोरिटी देते हैं, ऐसा जो मैंने
डिपेंड करता है ना, मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि ये डिपेंड करता है कि
सही है।
वो
और हमें
कई बार ना,
यही करना है हमारे में ये
नहीं
बात।
शीतल जी, कई बार ना प्रायोरिटी के बहाने ना हम सेल्फिश होते जाते हैं, हमें हमें पता ही नहीं चलता। प्रायोरिटी तो है, बट कब वो सेल्फिशनेस प्रायोरिटी के ऊपर चढ़ के बात बोलने लगता है हमें नहीं पता चलता।
ये
हम
बात
लोग निकल नहीं पाते हैं, हम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन तक भी फैमिली में ही रह के फैमिली का ही करे जा रहे हैं, करे जा रहे हैं, करे जा रहे हैं, जबकि हम बाकी लोगों के काम आ सकते थे, हम सर्व कर सकते थे, हमें बाद में रियलाइज होता है।
Can I say something here? Like,
यस यस,
देखिए, जब हम कुछ अच्छे अच्छे ढंग से मिलते हैं, ये कहीं मिलते हैं हमारे लाइफ में, तो हमें एक फीलिंग ऑफ ब्लेसिंग आती है कि आपका फीलिंग आता है कि एक बहुत अच्छा पर्सन मिला, ये अच्छा पर्सन, ये हमें, दिस पर्सन इज भी हमें हार्म नहीं करेगा, हमें हेल्प कर रहा है, दिस इज अ वेरी नाइस सिचुएशन, आई एम लकी, अच्छा पर्सन मिल गया। नाउ दैट अच्छा पर्सन आपको हर एक के लिए बनना है। अगर आपका नेबर है, आपके दोस्त हैं, अराउंड सारे लोग फील करें कि वो फॉर्चुनेट है कि वो आपसे मिले, क्योंकि आप उनको ऐसी सपोर्ट दे रहे हैं, वेदर इट इज इमोशनल सपोर्ट, मेंटल सपोर्ट, ऐसे उनको समझ रहे हैं और ऐसे उनको प्रोत्साहन दे रहे हैं दैट दे फील कि वाह क्या पर्सन मिल गया, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू लेट गो ऑफ दिस पर्सन, ये पर्सन मेरे को मिल गया। तो अगर आप लेके चले तो आप फिर भूल जाएंगे कि कौन रिश्तेदार है, कौन नेबर है, कौन स्ट्रेंजर है। हर एक के लिए आप ऐसे लेके चले कि ऐसा उसको फील हो कि मैं उसे समझ, मुझसे उसका फुल एक्सेप्ट, आई एक्सेप्ट दैट पर्सन फुल्ली, ऐसा फीलिंग उसको आना चाहिए कि आई एम एक्सेप्टिंग हिम एज ही इज, मुझे नहीं चेंज करना है किसी, मैं आई एम ओनली वर्किंग ऑन माई सेल्फ, वर्ल्ड आई एम एक्सेप्टिंग, बिकॉज द मोमेंट आई ट्राई टू चेंज अदर्स, दैट इज अ नेगेटिविटी आई एम पुटिंग आउट टू अदर्स। मुझे किसी को भी नेगेटिव नहीं देना है, सबके अंदर गुडनेस है, तो आई लुक एट द गुडनेस ओनली, आई एम नॉट लुकिंग एट द नेगेटिव, दैट इज देयर प्रॉब्लम। सो इन दैट वे लाइक यू कैन से दैट धीरे धीरे आपका अटैचमेंट खत्म हो जाएगा, और एम इज कि आप कैसा एनर्जी प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हो वर्ल्ड में, देन आपका फिर वो कट हो जाएगा कि कौन मेरा है कौन दूसरा है, आप हर एक को वो एक ही क्वालिटी एनर्जी दे रहे हो,
वेरी नाइस।
which is कि वही वो she started with this, that living in the eternal, which is living for eternal values। अब eternal values क्या, honesty, straightforwardness, helpfulness, kindness, ये सारे eternal values हैं। ये कभी अभी हम 1000, 2000, 2 लाख, 10 लाख साल भी हम आएंगे, they are still values। values mean something which we value, ये valuable चीजें हैं। being kind, being helpful, being generous. ये सारी they are always permanent, eternal values. So उनसे eternal value से मैं जी रही हूँ आज. What is the basis? One actually हम Indians के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा test है. Other test is how we treat the poor people around us, our workers and all that. सब कुछ उसके अंदर आप टेस्ट कर सकते हो, अपने आप को अच्छे से टेस्ट कर सकते हो उस सिचुएशन में. बिकॉज रियली सबसे बड़ा स्लेवरी पॉवर्टी ही है. स्लेवरी इज अ पॉवर्टी, क्योंकि वो निकल नहीं पा रहे हो उससे. दे आर नॉट. कोई भी सर्वेंट नहीं होना चाहता, बनना नहीं चाहता, जिंदगी भर नहीं सर्वेंट बनना चाहता. ही डज नॉट, ही डज नॉट. They are helpless. They are enslaved by that situation. So how do we treat that situation? How do we think of it as our birthright to have servants in India? It's a very unfortunate thing, हम कैसे काम निकलवाते हो. काम निकलवाती नहीं हो तुम ठीक से, घर ठीक से सफाई नहीं होती क्योंकि तुम काम नहीं निकलवाते. You say that to yourself sometimes also. Oh, like, I mean, how many things we need to do? I mean, there's a lot of work, but
right. So it all starts from self, ends in self. तो ये सेल्फ जर्नी जो है ना, ये आपको हर सिचुएशन का आंसर आपको निकालने के लिए मजबूर करेगी कि आप कैसे हो. देख लो, आप अपने घर में जो काम करने आते हैं उनको कैसे ट्रीट करते हो, आपके घर में गेस्ट आते हैं उनके साथ क्या बर्ताव रखते हो, आप लोगों के पास जाते हो लोगों से कैसे बात. इट ऑल स्टार्ट्स लाइक व्हाट यू डू. वेरी नाइस. थैंक यू फॉर दैट.
ये बोल दो.
बहुत सुंदर व्याख्या की मैडम, बहुत अच्छे टिप्स मिले आपके द्वारा. धन्यवाद.
लेट अस ऑल प्रैक्टिस व्हाट यू हैव लर्नड. हाँ, सब लोग प्रैक्टिस करेंगे मिलके.
बिल्कुल.
एक तो हमारा बर्थ राइट है कि हम अभी से बेहतर इंसान बने. हमें अगर लगता है कि बस मैं बेहतर इंसान हो चुका, अब आगे नहीं है, तो हमारी जर्नी ना बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगी आगे जाके. विल स्टॉप ग्रोइंग. तो लेट अस नॉट स्टॉप आवर ग्रोथ. वही था ना, जो चाइल्ड लाइक रहना है, सीखना है हमें. अच्छा बनना है, अच्छा बनना कैसा होता है वो भी सीखना है. दैट इज प्रॉब्ली दैट एसेंस ऑफ दैट बुक आई टेक एज.
बहुत बढ़िया, आप दोनों ने बहुत बढ़िया मेडिसिन दिया हम लोगों को.
नहीं, ये सब अपने लिए भी है. तो सबको ये ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग सभी सीख रहे हैं. We are all learners only. अच्छी. Thank you so much, sister. I think now we can end.
Yeah.
Sister Mitalini is there.
Yeah, she's there.
And I request as usual to give us her divine prayers. Thank you. आपको नमस्कार. असतो मा सद्गमय तमस्तु मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मां अमृतंगमय. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, न कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Thank you everyone and good night.